Chapter 3. The Forbidden Objective. The white glow soon transformed into the dim light of a temple's interior. Halira appeared cautiously, suppressing her ki completely. The echo of her footsteps resonated through the hallways as she advanced between ancient columns until she found a staircase ascending toward the surface. Stepping outside, she was suddenly enveloped by the intense blue of the sky. Dende and Mr. Popo, alarmed at the sight of her, rushed over to her. "Who are you?" Dende exclaimed, his voice tense. Halira took a deep breath and bowed with respect. "I am Halira. I come from the planet Toria. Please, I need your help." Piccolo, who had interrupted his meditation, opened his eyes and fixed them on Halira with a glacial stare. "This is Kami's lookout," he said with cutting coldness. "How did you get up here undetected? Explain yourself." Halira began explaining how she had arrived there, speaking of the white dimension as a vast, interconnected ocean. Dende's surprise was palpable. The hyperbolic time chamber, connected to other worlds? That's impossible, he exclaimed in disbelief. "I thought that dimension was created only for training." "We never ventured deep into that vast dimension," Piccolo clarified, his voice raspy. "Losing your way in there would have been a death sentence." Halira lowered her gaze, her voice heavy with pain. "My world, Toria, no longer exists as I knew it. Our guardian was slain by a warrior named Gravek. He has corrupted my people with his strange ability. My friends, those I trained with, are now puppets of his malice. I am the only one who managed to escape." Dende was horrified. "A guardian slain." Mr. Popo lowered his head, somber. "Then your world is defenseless." Halira nodded, breathing with difficulty. "And yours is too. I saw the flight logs in Gravek's ship. Earth is one of his objectives." Dende's heart stopped for a moment. "An objective?" he whispered, incredulous. Halira looked up, her eyes burned. The navigation system displayed a message beside the coordinates for this world. It said, "Forbidden, extremely powerful beings, final objective." A frigid silence fell over the lookout. Dende and Mr. Popo's eyes widened, while Piccolo's narrowed. "Final objective?" Dende repeated barely above a whisper. Piccolo grit his teeth. "Tch, that means they will come sooner or later. It's not that they can't enter. They're just waiting for the right moment to do so." Halira nodded firmly, still trembling. "I know. I have nothing to offer but the way there, but if you help me, I can lead you straight to him." Piccolo crossed his arms, sizing her up. "A being who defeats a guardian deity and controls an entire race. We cannot ignore him." Dende swallowed hard. "We really don't have any other choice." Mr. Popo, who had remained attentive, stepped forward with a pitcher of water and a small bowl. "Drink a little. You'll need it," he said softly. Halira accepted it with gratitude, taking small sips as she regained her breath. Meanwhile, Piccolo and Dende stepped away toward the edge of the platform. "Judging by what she has told us, this Gravek doesn't seem as overwhelming as other enemies from the past," Dende said in a low voice. Piccolo nodded slightly. "I've felt Halira's power. She is strong, yes. In Frieza's day, I would have been impressed. But now, she's nothing out of the ordinary." Dende looked at him, pensive. "So, Gravek isn't as formidable as we expected?" "He's no Boo, that's for sure," Piccolo replied in a practical tone. "But his ability to control others, that is a very different problem. We can't get overconfident. We need reinforcements." "Do you mean Goku and Vegeta?" Dende asked cautiously. Piccolo snorted. "Goku is out of reach. And Vegeta, we could ask him, but I doubt he'd bother with an opponent of this caliber. Besides, his time in that dimension ran out years ago. Dende added. Do you really think something like that would stop him at this point? Piccolo pointed out. Anyway, maybe we could talk to Gohan. And what about Goten and Trunks? Dende suggested. Their power must have grown quite a bit. Piccolo let out a huff as his cape billowed abruptly. Those two are wasting their potential, but their strength is undeniable. Right now, they must be roughly on par with Cell, and if things get out of hand, there's always fusion. Dende arched an eyebrow with a flash of irony. And exactly which Cell are we talking about, Piccolo? Piccolo looked at him out of the corner of his eye in silence. That look was enough to make Dende put a hand to his mouth, stifling a laugh. Halira approached them with a grave expression. There is one more problem. 2 of Gravek's soldiers pursued me. Before I could cross the portal, one of their attacks hit my ship. The navigation system is still working, but the hull was damaged. I don't think it will withstand another trip. As she spoke, she approached the edge of the lookout to catch her breath. She took one more step and froze upon seeing the vastness of the sky stretched out beneath her feet. Her eyes went wide, and she stumbled backward with a sharp gasp, almost falling over. Watch out! Dende interjected, alarmed. Isn't it the same on your world? Halira, her heart still racing, shook her head quickly. Of course not. My guardian's temple is in a spectacular spot, but at least it's on solid ground, not floating in the middle of the sky. Piccolo, with a bead of sweat on his brow, cleared his throat sternly. About those who followed you, did you defeat them before entering? Halira shook her head firmly. No. They backed off at the last moment because of the portal's restriction, right after damaging the ship. Piccolo tightened his knuckles. Tch! Without that navigation system, we won't be able to find our way through that dimension. We need to repair it. There is only one person capable of doing it, Dende said. Piccolo opened his eyes, resolute. Bulma. Dende nodded and went straight to the communicator. In a matter of seconds, the transmission sphere projected Bulma's image, her hair slightly messy and stained with grease, as if she had been interrupted in the middle of a repair. Piccolo? Dende? Well, if you're calling me like this, it means something serious is going on, she said with a mix of exhaustion and expectation. Bulma, Piccolo said bluntly, we have a problem, and we're going to need your help. She arched an eyebrow, but upon hearing what came next, her expression changed completely. A ship? Inside the hyperbolic time chamber? She repeated, incredulous, dropping her screwdriver onto the table. That is incredible. She crossed her arms thoughtfully, a spark of curiosity lighting up her eyes. I want to see it as soon as possible, but you already know I can't stand even a minute inside that chamber. She curled her lips with irony. I'll send Trunks. He'll examine it and bring it here in a capsule. That way I can work on it at Capsule Corp. Halira, still nervous, bowed her head in gratitude. It wasn't long before a silhouette streaked across the sky. Trunks landed on the lookout platform with a confident expression. Wow, looks like I've missed something interesting. The group descended the interior stairs of the lookout until they reached the entrance to the hyperbolic time chamber. Stepping through the threshold and into the white immensity, the small red ship awaited them, parked next to the solitary building. Trunks crossed his arms, observing it closely. So this thing brought you from your planet's portal all the way here, he murmured, giving the damaged hull a couple of taps. It's compact, just the right size to fit through doors like this one. Halira nodded. I thought the same. Its design isn't a coincidence. Trunks leaned in a bit, touching one of the edges. It's missing a piece. Have you noticed? Halira looked at him strangely and nodded slowly. Yes, it was already like that when I found it. Piccolo barely tilted his head, watching in silence. Well, even though it's small, moving it through the interior of the lookout would be a problem. I'll put it in a capsule and take it to my mom, Trunks said, pulling a hoi poi capsule from his pocket with a quick gesture. Luckily for us, size isn't an issue. Halira looked at him, surprised. Put a whole ship in a capsule? Incredible. Your world is more advanced than I imagined. Trunks held up the capsule, pressing the button with his thumb. Knowing Mom, I'm sure it'll be ready in a couple of days, and probably upgraded. With a metallic click, the ship vanished in a cloud of smoke, leaving Halira stunned. Piccolo crossed his arms gravely. Let's not waste any more time. Every minute that ship is in Bulma's hands is one step closer to stopping Gravek. Following Trunks' departure for Capsule Corp, Piccolo didn't wait. Time was of the essence, and the threat undeniable. He took flight, diving swiftly from the edge of the lookout. In a matter of seconds, the unmistakable silhouette of Korin Tower rose to meet him. At the top of the immense column, Yajirobai was snoring loudly, hugging his katana as if it were a pillow. Korin, sitting on a cushion, watched with his usual serenity. "So you finally decide to drop by, Piccolo," the cat said without opening his eyes. "It's been a long time since the lookout saw any trouble." Piccolo landed with his habitual seriousness. "I've come for senzu beans, Korin. I don't think we'll use them this time, but I don't want to take any chances." Yajirobai woke up with a start at the sound of Piccolo's voice. "Trouble again? Always the same thing. I'm going back to sleep." Korin nodded with tired wisdom, handing him a small pouch. "Here you go. By the way, is everything okay at the lookout? It seems someone has appeared up there, right?" Piccolo took the pouch. His gaze hardened. "A traveler has arrived. Things are far from okay." With the senzu secured, Piccolo said his goodbye and launched himself back into the sky. For him, the calm of the earth was only a brief pause before the true storm brewing far away in the corners of the universe. 2 days passed. Just as promised, Bulma had the new ship ready. Larger, faster, and equipped with the navigation system from Gravek's vessel. In the courtyard of Capsule Corp, Piccolo, Halira, and Trunks inspected the new ship, while Bulma gave hurried instructions. "Trunks, make sure they don't wreck it halfway through the trip this time like what happened to Halira. And don't forget that I've installed a tracker. I'm not about to let you get lost in there." Trunks nodded confidently. "Mom, you worry too much. Between the ship, the tracker, and us, I think we're more than covered." At that moment, Goten appeared. He landed with a firm step, though he couldn't hide a certain curiosity upon seeing the stranger. "Yo, Piccolo, long time no see." Then he directed a brief look at Halira and flashed a cordial smile. "Hi, I'm Goten. So you're the one from the planet in trouble? That's some story." Halira bowed her head seriously, somewhat overwhelmed by his upbeat energy. Piccolo examined Goten in silence for a few seconds before speaking. "I hope you don't take this as one of your games." Goten's smile vanished, and he replied with a more sober tone. "Don't worry. When it's time to get serious, we get serious. I know that well enough." Before leaving, Trunks went down to the underground training area. The echo of blows and explosions rumbled like a storm beneath the earth. Inside the gravity chamber, set to 500 times Earth's gravity, Vegeta was fighting a projection of Cell. His figure was drenched in sweat, and every impact was charged with a fury that never waned. "Aren't you coming with us, Dad?" Trunks asked, raising his voice as he watched the simulation. Vegeta clenched his hands together and unleashed a brutal blow upon his enemy, sending him into the ground with such force that the projection dissolved into flashes of light. Without turning, he let out a dry laugh. "What? Do you expect me to fight your battles for you?" he spat with disdain. "You're a grown man, Trunks. This is your chance to prove the worth of a Saiyan raised on Earth. If you can't handle this, you'd better start taking your training seriously. Trunks pressed his lips together, letting a defiant expression show. I figured you'd say that. Don't worry, we'll handle this without any trouble. Vegeta finally turned just enough to look at him out of the corner of his eye. His brow hardened, but with a fierce glint in his gaze. If this Gravek is targeting Earth, let him come. I'll be here waiting for him. The simulator lights turned back on. Vegeta transformed into a Super Saiyan, and with a roar of fury, lunged at a new projection. Trunks withdrew in silence, but with a spark of pride reflected in his eyes.